Got these out of the garden this year. Cutting and seeding this one now to make some puree for some soft Aquafaba cookies I'm going to be making this afternoon. This is an optional step when roasting the pumpkin halves that I haven't tried yet. So I'm going to try it now. It's just brushing the cut sides with olive oil. Well, olive oil, avocado oil. I wouldn't use motor oil. We're going to see. Brushing it with oil and then sprinkling it with salt. I'm going to be peeling it and pureeing it anyway, but it's always good to know what different things do. Through multiple attempts at Aquafaba sugar cookies the last few days, I'm learning how baking soda and baking powder produce completely different textures in the cookies. The oven's preheated. These are ready to go in. I'm gonna do 400 and check them in about 40 minutes. At 400, these were done in an hour is what I ended up cooking them for. And then let them sit and cool off. And this is where we're at. Peels great. If you don't get it done, it's harder to peel. Happy with that. When that's fully cooled, it's ready to go in the blender to make the puree. I need 3/4 cups. This is a lot more than that. I'll be using it with my beans and rice dinner stuff. We got our 3/4 cup of pumpkin puree measured out. Our sugar, vanilla extract. I'm using chickpea Aquafaba this time rather than pinto bean. We will see how that is. Supposedly, chickpea is the gold standard for Aquafaba cookies, anyway. We got our oven preheated to 350 before we started this. We'll be using 2 tablespoons of Aquafaba. There is not nearly much Aquafaba in this can as the pinto beans was. Or maybe it just wasn't coming out good because the lid, yeah. Now it's flowing. Oh, 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. And a half a cup of sugar. This is Autumn Gold pumpkin puree. You can definitely use canned pumpkin puree. Nothing wrong with it. I just simply have the pumpkins. I like knowing where my food comes from too, the ingredients come from. So if I can use something that I know where it came from, especially something that I grew here, I'm gonna do that. But I have nothing against using canned pumpkin puree. Tis the season for everything pumpkin though. Wet ingredients are done. Now, fresh bowl, we're gonna mix our dry, which will include 1 cup of all-purpose flour, the oven is ready. 1/4 teaspoon of salt, which is optional, but definitely will enhance the flavor. A 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder. And I'm using pumpkin spice to increase the pumpkinness. A 1/2 teaspoon of that. Cinnamon is another option that I will likely try. Got the fresh pumpkins. If I don't bake with them, then I'm just going to eat it with beans and rice. This is a little bit more fun. I don't typically buy a pumpkin in a can, so we're going to whisk these together. And then we're going to mix the wet and the dry together until it's just combined. We don't need to overdo it. I have used pumpkin puree in the past, just, well, basically for me, just eating it straight out of the can. And what I noticed from the pumpkin puree that I made this afternoon, or that I blended up, that I pureed up, it may just be my pumpkins, or I'm not sure. This puree is much more liquidy than any pumpkin puree I've ever had in a can, from a can. There's a lot of rain here this year, so that may have something to do with why the pumpkins are so juicy. Definitely a good thing. They're so sweet, the autumn gold, the ones that grew this year. Delicious, without sugar, just grown and then roasted in the oven and eat, just straight out. It's good. That is thick. I'm going to scoop with a spoon the batter onto the sheet. 1 tablespoon drops is the idea. This recipe is supposed to make soft cake-like cookies rather than crispy. I've used no oil in the recipe, which is different from the sugar cookies that I've been making, so it's another learning thing. I'm told that adding a tablespoon of oil will make the cookies chewier, but we're gonna see what we got. 10 to 12 minutes until the edges look set and the tops no longer look wet. 12 minutes and the tops no longer look wet and the edges seem to be set. Let them cool on the pan for 5 minutes, and then it suggests moving them to a wire rack afterwards. I do not have one, but I'm gonna let these cool and we'll taste test them soon. Pumpkin spice. Very good.